Mike Littlehills is our next presenter, and he's going to talk to you about the one thing that has the greatest impact on your health: sleep.
Lots of myths and misunderstandings, get your 8 hours, see you tomorrow. One of the major health pillars, very much the third or fourth health pillar.
They're a little bit hesitant to make changes. There's so many things that are happening in our lives right now that are beyond our control.
One of the leading contributing causes of death and disability in industrialized countries is high blood pressure and its consequences, the heart attacks, the strokes.
If I have anything, I try 3 days of fasting. And if it doesn't get better, I consider a treatment.
Practical demonstration of what I want to share with you today, which is breathwork.
Probably around, I would estimate me to be around 16 years old. And my mother had psoriasis, just a small amount on her elbows.
Helps with inflammation. It helps with there's so many medical benefits associated with cold exposure.
We're going to begin with the first element, which is water.
Today we're going to talk about memory. It's a very hot topic, and I am very passionate about helping people improve their memory and age healthfully, cognitively, physically, and socially.
All right, so everyone, joining us next is Abraham Heisler. He is a mindset and performance coach who helps business professionals reduce stress and increase productivity through leveraging flow states. One of the most powerful tools Abraham uses with clients is breath work, an active breathing technique that wipes away fear and anxiety while cultivating a sense of certainty. This phenomenon, which works with your own biology, is called transient hypofrontality. So he is going to do a presentation today on the work that he does with breathwork, and then he's going to lead us through a quick breathing exercise. So thank you, Abraham, for being here. The floor is yours.
All right, great. And remind me, how much time do I have? You just popped off.
So you have 40 minutes to do the presentation and the breathing exercise.
Great. All right. All right, guys. Great to be here. It's a pleasure. I always feel funny with these formats where it's just me doing a live stream rather than the interactive, because I love to see your faces and to see people in real time, but I'm just going to imagine it. I'll just adjust my camera here. So let's do this. Since it's just me up here, I'm actually going to share my screen and we'll go into a little bit of a presentation, and then we'll have a practical demonstration of what I want to share with you today, which is breathwork as introduced. So let's just bring this up. All right. All right, guys. So title of this workshop is Expanding What You Know About Breathing. I'm Abraham Heisler, mindset performance coach. Let's talk about who this might be for. All right. So I'm used to working with entrepreneurs. I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, but I mean, this is for anybody with lungs, essentially, right? Who wants to achieve something in their life. And maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you have some difficulty moving the needle forward in your life, in your business. You might be experiencing overwhelm. This is also for people that are already crushing it, but looking to optimize their performance by just 1%, which will exponentially leverage your time, your energy, and this is what I call high performance. So I'm a mindset and a performance coach, so I work on psychology, but also physiology and lifestyle habits and routines. So what's going to happen in today's webinar is I'm going to show you guys 3 different breathing strategies. And the reason why it's important is because I want to give you guys a renewed sense of clarity, purpose, and power with actionable, tangible steps you can take to transforming your life and your business. Again, a lot of my materials tailored to entrepreneurs, to business owners, but if you work a 9 to 5, or even if you're unemployed, this is going to appeal to you as well. So I want to give you guys also insight on why you might be feeling a bit stuck with an action plan to help you guys move past it. I'm all about results, okay? So question for you guys. I want you guys to ask yourself, does this sound like you? If you're tired of seeing other people with less talent, skill, and experience crushing it while you stay stuck, again, more for the entrepreneurial community. Maybe you've implemented strategies, you've worked with coaches, and you've tried more of a strategic, tactical approach to your whatever it is that you're working on, your life, your business, but you keep winding up back in the same situation. Then this is something that's going to be important. What takes others days to accomplish takes you months. Here's the thing I want you to pay attention to. Maybe you're struggling to maximize your energy, optimize your energy. Maybe you rely on coffee to wake up, and you also have difficulty turning off your brain after work. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with who say, I just want to be more present for loved ones when the work finishes, and I just can't shut it off. I can't turn it off, and that's why I also have problems sleeping. So this is also going to apply to you, this class that we're going to go through today. And then second to last, if you get lost in what's called analysis paralysis, basically you analyze it's an analysis of every decision out of a fear of being wrong. You're constantly going over and over and over and over in your head, right? And then lastly, if you have an inner strong self-critic, maybe even an imposter syndrome that prevents you from fully showing up and being as powerful and influential as you truly want to be. The real problem is that you haven't learned how to hack your physiology and your psychology to implement a routine that will help you to develop what I call internal leverage. Internal leverage is the concept. That's my brand. I have a podcast called Internal Leverage. And the idea is that success comes from within. By affecting our psychology and our physiology, we can create success. We can create a version of ourselves that is able to achieve at a very high level. Okay. Once you do that, obviously you're going to have the tools to manage your internal states and I guess that's a typo, and consciously choose the states that will help you to be more successful. Might not help you to spell better, but it will help you be more successful. You'll feel more free, more empowered, which is really what I love, is to empower people. And that nervousness, the anxiety that you feel inside your body will be replaced with a feeling of confidence and absolute clarity. Okay. And the last word I would use is focus as well. All right. Why me? Why listen to what I have to say? Whoa, something's happening here. Hold on a second. No. So I'm a mindset performance coach. I've studied neuroscience for business at MIT. Beyond that, for the last 20 years of my life, I've dedicated myself to studying the connection between mind, body, spirit, and also business. I've traveled the world. I've trained with monks. There was actually a time in my life where I was considering to become a monk. I was so deep in this path of really understanding the layers of the mind, what makes us tick. And I've decided at some point in my life, decided to actually stay in the world, stay in society, and bring these gifts forward. And that's what I do. I bridge the ancient traditions that have been around for centuries with what's going on Main Street, right? What's going on in the real world. And my whole mission is to make it more accessible, bring these traditions to a more mainstream audience, which is why I love speaking at the Run the World Summit today. And I've had the good fortune of working with hundreds of entrepreneurs to help them create more clarity, confidence, and focus in their lives, leading to more fulfillment and greater profitability in their business. And I've also been the mindset and performance coach for these different organizations. You see their logos at the bottom here. I already quickly went over my journey. I was, traveling the world. I was a filmmaker. I was studying. I was doing all this type of stuff, but I was under-earning. And I had a real strong people pleaser, and I still do, but I had to learn how to own my power. I had to learn internal leverage. I had to learn how to shift my thinking in such a way that I could show up with more power to create more impact and more income, and also leverage my internal states. If you go to a Tony Robbins event, he talks about the importance of really embodying internal states of two things. One is power, right? To feel more powerful, more confident. But then the other is to shut down your brain after work. How to bring yourself from a heightened state of awareness and arousal to a more calm, relaxed, and one that is ready to let go and to surrender, be more present in order to be more present for loved ones, but also to fall asleep at night, which is extremely important. And I've had a lot of success. I've spoken on stages and built a successful business and found the love of my life. So That's a little bit more about me. Lastly, the last thing I just want to say here is that really what this comes down to is the thing that holds us back more than anything else is being stuck in our head. And I'm going to get to what that means specifically from a neuroscience perspective. But if we can hack our physiology, if we can get ourselves back into our bodies, out of our head and back into the present moment, we can accomplish anything we want. Okay. All right. So 3 breathing strategies I want to give you guys. Let's just hop right into it. The first one is this is what I call level 1. Okay, so level 1 is more of how you should be breathing throughout your day. A lot of people breathe through their mouth. There's a lot of books written about this, studies. There's a great book called Breathe by James Nestor. I suggest you check it out. But basically, there's a lot of studies that show that breathing through your nose, foremost, breathing through your nose increases the amount of oxygen that we absorb by 10 to 15%. There's all sorts of stuff that's happening inside the nose. I'm not going to get too technical, but basically we're able to work with the oxygen, the air coming into our body and process it a lot better. And so by breathing it through our nose, we over time are a lot more sharp. We have more energy and more focus. So this is something that you actually want to focus on is really ask yourself. So right now in this moment, like really check, am I breathing through my mouth, breathing through my nose? One thing that you can do, take your finger and just place it under your nose. Do you feel the air coming in and out of your nose? If not, you're probably breathing through your mouth. I'm speaking right now, so I'm doing a lot of mouth breathing, but throughout the day, I keep reminding myself, you can put up little reminder notes, whatever, in order to remind yourself to continue to breathe through your nose and just measure over time what that's like. Slow breathing is also really important. What it does is it increases the carbon dioxide in your body, which is necessary to absorb the oxygen. A lot of people, and this is a big, huge misconception, that a lot of people think, I just need to oxygenate my body. I need to get more oxygen in. The problem is that if we do not have carbon dioxide in the body or strong carbon dioxide tolerance, we're not actually able to absorb the oxygen that we breathe into our body. So we can take a deep breath, but if our carbon dioxide is not there, then we're not going to be able to get that oxygen to the brain as properly as needed for maximum optimization of our breathing. So we're going to talk about not slow breathing, but we're going to talk about increasing our carbon dioxide with breath withholds in a later section. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is called control state of arousal. And this is the idea that we can affect our autonomic nervous system in order to bring ourselves into a heightened state of arousal or de-escalate. And normally we do this by taking substances, right? We take stimulants like caffeine and, there's all sorts of drugs on the market that you can take to wake yourself up, right? And we take other things to bring ourselves down. Some people take whiskey, melatonin, Valium, like there's all sorts of things that we can do. So the need to be able to control our arousal is extremely important, right? And there's a guy whose name actually I can't remember. I stole this from another guy, this idea, but he basically got this type of breathing technique from an ancient tradition, yoga tradition of breathing. But basically there's different ways that we can breathe that affect our arousal, affect our autonomic nervous system, which is kind of interesting because autonomic means that it's happening on its own accord, but we can actually, it's not automatic, like we can affect it ourselves with our breathing. So this is very simple. The idea of coffee breath is that it's breathing in a certain way that brings our arousal up, so we become more awake, more aware. And what we're doing with that is we're putting the emphasis on the inhalation. Okay, so we're extending the inhalation. So for instance, if we were to breathe in for a count of 8, and then hold for 4, and then breathe out for 4, and then hold for 4. And then again, breathing in. And I want you to do it with me right now through the nose. 8, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. Couple more rounds. Breathing in, hold, out, and hold. I'm starting to get a little bit of a rush. So what's happening is, as I'm putting emphasis on the inhalation, my arousal is going up, which is why it's called the coffee breath. All right. So I want you to play with that. And maybe some of you guys are doing this already. I want you to start to play with this. Water breath is it's basically the same thing as box breathing, which is a Navy SEALs technique, which is where it's even on all sides. So we have 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold, 4 in, like that. It's just a perfect box. And what's great about that is water keeps us going, right? So it's a great way to stay focused throughout the day and to stay very clear-headed, is to continue doing this sort of box breathing, which the Navy SEALs use to manage stress and anxiety. So when we go into our parasympathetic response, into our sympathetic response, which is our fight or flight, where we get stressed, we can do this type of breathing in order to shift ourselves back to rest and digest, the parasympathetic, right? The third one, which is whiskey breath, is actually what you guys should practice when you're getting off of work, okay? Because it helps you to come down and be more calm and relaxed. And it's also great to practice when you're going to sleep. And it's basically the reverse of the coffee breath. It's breathing out and holding for a count of 8. And breathing out for a count of 8, holding for 4, in for 4, hold for 4, out again for a count of 8. So just try a couple rounds of that right now, just as a test. So we're breathing in, 4, hold, out, hold, in, hold, and out. So what's happening is now, if you did it with me, you're going to be feeling more relaxed, more at ease, and just more chilled out. All right. So this is great. It's better to do this rather than drink whiskey, because any sort of alcohol at night actually is disruptive to sleep, contrary to popular belief. All right. Now I want to get to the main part of our presentation here. I'm just going to check the time. Okay, we're doing okay here. And come back to you guys. No questions. If you guys have comments, drop them in the comments below. Let's get to the main show here, all right, which is my favorite part, which is really all about hacking what's called flow state. Flow state is the idea that whenever we're sort of in our genius zone, right, and we lose sense of ourselves, we lose this sort of self-conscious awareness, and we're just in the moment, rolling with our work, what it is that we're focused on. That's where the best ideas happen. That's where people are most effective, most productive. The consultancy firm McKinsey & Company did a 10-year study on flow and productivity with executives, found that the people that were able to trigger flow state, the executives that were able to go into flow state on a consistent basis, were 500 times more effective, more productive, which basically means that if you're a CEO and you know how to get into flow, you can show up on a Monday and handle all your tasks for the week and then head out, right? So being able to hack the flow state, being able to enter into the zone is critical. It's crucial. It's a place where we're undistracted, we're focused, we're in a heightened state of awareness and arousal. So here's the thing. In order to get into that flow state, we need to leverage the power of our brains, okay? So this is a little bit of an oversimplification of our brain. There's this idea of the triune brain, which is basically that we have our analytical, rational brain, the neocortex. We have our more primitive brain, which is the limbic system, which is the mammalian brain, and we have the reptilian brain, right? But if we were to just simplify it even further, we have two brains. We have our rational brain, and we have our primal brain, okay? And our prefrontal cortex, which is part of that rational brain, right? It's part of the neocortex, is responsible for rational thinking, for analysis, and for this like self-identification, this egoic mind, basically. Now, when overstimulated and living in a society where we have TikTok and Instagram and messages and advertising, our prefrontal cortex is working overtime, probably 100 times harder, maybe 1,000 times than primitive man. And this overstimulation leads to procrastination, putting things off, catastrophizing, overthinking, analysis paralysis, and a really nasty inner self-critic. So when I said before about being stuck in our heads, this is what I'm talking about. This the overstimulation of the prefrontal cortex, which we need. We need our prefrontal cortex. It's what separates us from the animal kingdom. Yet at the same time, when it's overstimulated, it causes so many problems for us in our life, in business, in relationships, and even in health. So the answer, transient hypofrontality. That's a mouthful. What that means, it's a theory that basically says that whenever we're in that flow state, what's happening is that the prefrontal cortex is slowing down for a period of time. That's why it's transient, frontality, the prefrontal cortex, and hypo means slow, hyper is fast. Hypo is basically the slowing down of the prefrontal cortex. So remember, it's overstimulated. We want to slow it down. But how do we do that? There's multiple different ways that you can trigger flow state. But my favorite, the quickest, is through breath work. Okay? Breath work is a physiological hack. Now, it's basically anytime that we're doing any sort of anything with our breath. Like we just did breath work a moment ago when we talked about the whiskey, coffee breath. But this type of breath work that I want to show you now, which is a more involved, higher, more intense form of breath work, is what's called a self-induced stress inoculation technique. Okay, I'll say that one more time. Self-induced stress inoculation technique. So what we're doing is we're actually stressing our system. We're taxing our body in order to create this fight or flight response. But what's great about it is that since we're controlling it, and it's not outside of us, we're actually the ones that are self-inducing, we have our hand on the lever. So it's kind of like when we have a fear of flying, let's say, or a fear of heights, and we expose ourselves to a high platform, or we expose ourselves to a flight simulation in order to get more confident and comfortable in controlled circumstances. That is what we are doing with this breathing technique. What's going on a physiological level is that the blood is actually getting restricted to the brain. And I know it sounds scary, but there's no negative side effects from it. What happens is the prefrontal cortex, which is used to pumping and going, starts to slow down. This is the same thing that happens in flow state. It's the same thing that happens to Michael Jordan when he's on the court and he's playing basketball. His prefrontal cortex slows down, so his more primitive brain, his unconscious mind, can take over, right? The instincts, the intuition, the connectivity to different altered states, okay? The other thing that happens is that we transition from being in this beta brainwave state, which is where we spend most of our lives, and we start to transition into alpha and maybe even the theta state, which we only really get when we're falling asleep, when we're in sleep, or we're absorbed in a movie or some sort of experience, okay? So what I want to do right now is I want to go over this technique that I like to use for this transient hypofrontality, this flow state hack. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here. Okay. And let's see. And if you're still with me, okay, there's a few people in the room, and I know there's some people watching the recordings. This is what I want us to do. We're going to breathe in a certain way that's a little bit intense, and this is ideal if you're lying down, but you could also do it seated. I'm going to do it standing just to demonstrate, but I'm not going to go too hard because you might get a little faint-headed, like a little lightheaded or a little faint. It's normal. What I do, in fact, I have a deep dive session coming up, which I'm happy to share with you. It's coming up in a few weeks, where I take people through a very intense version of what I'm going to show you. I'm just going to give you a little taste right now, but we go through a very intense version of this process. And not only does it lead to flow state, more confidence, clarity, but it actually leads to peak experiences where we're able to get outside of our head and see things from a 30,000-foot view, and we really get a sense of where we're heading in our life, where we're heading in our business, what's been holding us back. And it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer for sure. But let's take a look. Let's get a little taste of what it feels like to be able to shift our state, to get more calm and relaxed, to get out of our head, even just for a moment. So we're going to do some breathing. And what I want you to do is I want you to place one hand on your stomach, one hand on your chest. And we're actually, I know a moment ago I said throughout your normal day you want to breathe through your nose, but for this technique we're going to breathe through our mouth, okay? Okay, so I'm just going to slow down for a second just so I can get more present. I'm going to take off my shirt here so you can see me better. Now, if you've done any Wim Hof breathing, this is very similar, okay? One hand on the stomach, one hand on the chest. When we breathe in, we're going to breathe mostly into our diaphragm, so the diaphragm should expand, okay? 80% of the oxygen coming into the body should go into the stomach, 20% into the chest. So let's try a few breaths just like that. So it's going to look like this. So notice when I'm breathing out, I'm not forcing the air out. It's not a hard exhalation. It's very soft and subtle, okay? So what I want us to do together is we're going to do about 30 rounds of that, and then we're going to do a breath hold. I'm holding on here. I'm feeling a little lightheaded already. But that's also because I'm giving the presentation. The breath hold is helpful because it helps to increase the CO2, the carbon dioxide that we spoke about earlier, which is necessary for transporting the blood and absorb, basically through the body, and being able to absorb more of the oxygen, okay? So we're going to do 30 rounds of the breathing, and then we're going to hold the air out, increase our tolerance to the carbon dioxide, and then we're going to take a deep breath in, and we'll try 2 rounds of that and see how we do, all right? All right, so let's go for it. So one hand on the stomach, one hand on the chest, and go ahead and breathe with me, and let's go, okay? So breathing in. So keep it going. You want the breathing to be cyclical. And we want to do about 30 rounds. And try not to force too hard, right? Do the work. It takes some effort, but you don't have to fight. It's just allow it to be natural and easy. We're just breathing. That's all we're doing. So take a few more. Last one, and breathe all the air out and hold it. And as you're holding it, I want you to just be in this moment, be at peace. Relax. Feel yourself in a place where you don't have to be anywhere. You don't have to do anything. Your only task, only job is to be present right here, right now, in this moment. And when you're ready, you can take a deep breath in. And just sort of check in with yourself. Shake it off. I know for myself, again, it's like when I'm teaching, it's challenging to do it. And then the teach, it's like a lot. So I'm like, it's not the same as if I'm just lying down and doing my own practice, okay? But again, the goal is to get out of our head, to get out of our state. Very often, we're in a state which is either hyper-focused, but not necessarily on what we want to focus on. Maybe it's like something that somebody said or an email I got to get to or whatever it is. Our brain just keeps going over and over. It's almost like a record that just keeps playing. And the ability to switch our state, change our state, it's kind of like scratching the record and then throwing on a new one. Okay. And it's necessary. It's important. If I have an important presentation like this and I'm feeling shy and timid and nervous and whatever, then I need that pregame ritual. I need the ability to shift state so I can step into more of an influential place, an influential state of being where I can actually deliver the content in such a way that it lands with the audience. Okay. And all performers know this. All performers have their pre-stage routine. But it's the same thing for life, for a very difficult conversation that you have to have. Or maybe it's just game time to focus and to concentrate on a specific task. Again, we want to have the ability to control our state so that we can be most effective at whatever it is that we're doing. Let's try it one more time. So shake it off, get a little loose. Remember, you want to do it sitting down or lying down is best. And this is just a taste. It's different than the deep dive experience where that's more of an hour-long process where I have you lie down, we play music, I channel Tony Robbins, and you have this incredible, dare I say, outer body experience that opens up new vistas, new sense, new clarity, a sense of clarity within yourself, and also a certainty and confidence. So if you're interested in that, then definitely follow up. I believe that Anne's going to post the link to register for that upcoming class shortly. Let's do another round of this, okay? So again, one hand on the stomach, one hand on the chest, breathing into the abdomen. Throughout our daily life, we breathe very shallow into the chest, but we're not actually breathing into the abdomen, which is, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but there's so much that goes on in our stomach. In fact, our gut is our second brain. There's thousands of neurons that are, actually millions of neurons that are in our stomach, and plus the hormone serotonin, which is the happy hormone that is produced in our stomach. So when we're breathing into our stomach, we're actually releasing those hormones. We're up-leveling our feeling. So it's no wonder that we're shifting our state. We're also tapping into our intuition, that gut sense, that gut feeling, which is not woo-woo. It's actually being studied by scientists that are showing that when we can develop the cultures in our stomach, we can actually have more of that intuitive sense. It's because it's a second brain. It knows, it has an intelligence. So let's go ahead and let's do another round. One hand on the stomach, one hand on the chest, and breathing through the mouth, not through the nose. We'll do 30 rounds of the breathing and then another breath hold, and then we'll be finished for today. And let's begin. So breathing in. So keep it going. I'm going to stop so I can facilitate, but keep breathing. Keep going. I can feel the shift occurring in my physiology right now, just from that little bit that I did with you guys. Each and every breath, you're expanding. Okay, you're owning your power that's inside of you. Each and every exhalation, you're letting go of all limitation and all lack, anything that's holding you back from stepping into and embodying who you truly are. So keep breathing, guys. Stomach, chest, release. Each and every breath going further and going deeper. You guys are doing great. Keep it going. Come on, Anne, breathe with us. Stomach, chest, release.
I start getting lightheaded too. I'm like, whoa, I do the Wim Hof method. I'd never done this method before. I'm like, holy cow, that.
Yep. Let's just wrap it up. So hold on one second. So guys, take your last deep breath in and out, letting all of the air outside of the body, let it out, and then hold the breath as long as you can. And just allow yourself to be in a state of peace. Allow yourself to be in this present moment. Allow yourself to feel the power, the beauty that lies within. The tingles throughout the body, such a beautiful, wonderful feeling. When you're absolutely ready, you can take a deep breath in. Shake it off, let it out, allow yourself to be more free, more relaxed, and more energized than you were before. This is an energizing technique to move energy throughout the body, but it's also for mental clarity and focus. Okay, great. Awesome work. So, Anne, I don't know if you guys have the ability to do Q&A or
yeah,
how it
we
works.
do. So, well, people can raise their hands. They can grab the mic, leave some comments. I definitely have some questions, but for everyone. So the next level breakthrough breathwork masterclass. If you go into the chat, it is at the top. You can click the link where it says register. And that will take you where you need to be on Eventbrite in order to register for Abraham's class. Clearly, this powerful stuff. And again, sorry I interrupted, but like I said, just crazy because I do the Wim Hof method, primarily focus on your immune system on that one, but always looking for breathing techniques. And I love this. I will definitely practice this a lot more because, we talked with Nick Littlehales. I take my recovery period, call a nap for everybody else. But, sometimes you don't have time for that. How can you do things? And breathing is so powerful to go. And I love the name of the other breathing that you mentioned, because it's, the coffee breathing and the whiskey breathing. It's such a great association to, the fact that you don't need external things. You don't need to medicate yourself. You don't need to breathe. And so if you have questions and nasal breathing, one of the things, so I know you're a big fan also of Dr. Andrew Huberman, and he's he always promotes nasal breathing. He says when you're working out, obviously not high intensity, but you're working out, you should be breathing through your nose, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but the value, like Abraham, really drove home the importance and the value behind this. Oh, and what's the cost of learning these different breathing techniques? Right?
Great. Yep.
It's free.
Great.
Fasting is free. Learning to sleep properly, everything is free. Now, getting the next level expertise and guidance, yes, there's a cost to that, and embrace it. Get that additional information, that additional training, because it's so tremendously beneficial. It's rudimentary. We don't do it right, and then we wonder why we suffer. So I don't see any questions in the comments in the chat. So let me ask you, how often should someone be practicing these techniques, and what's your not your hacks, but again, your recommendation for them to ensure that they get in a routine, in a habit of doing this?
Right. Well, I'm a firm believer that every day you should have a morning routine. It's a game changer for helping you to prime your mind and your body for the day, for success. So every morning I practice a few rounds of breathing, kind of similar to what we did today. That being said, the experience that's coming up on the 24th of this month next month, May, is a deep dive experience. And it's a very intense experience. It's not something that I would recommend as a daily experience, and it takes an hour to go through it. But having that at least, if not weekly, at least once a month, is incredibly powerful, because it's, you said before you practice Wim Hof. Wim Hof is great. He focuses more on the immune system and health benefits. The type of breath work and the lineage that I come from, it's all about what occurs for us psychologically. And there's people who experience all sorts of releases of traumas and deep healing and all types of stuff from this breath work. I literally have had people come up to me and say, I feel like I've gone through 10 years of therapy in that 1 hour of deep breathing. So having an experience like that is potentially life-changing. I mean, I work with entrepreneurs and business professionals, and I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people who've come to me and have told me my business has changed because of this one experience, because I realized something that otherwise it would have taken me years to figure out. I had the mental focus and clarity to break through to this next level, which is why the event is called Next Level Breakthrough. So yeah, I highly recommend having some form of breathing exercise that you do daily just to sort of get you ready for the day, but then also taking some time to do a deep dive session at some point.
Yeah, have that be one of your first times. Have that be one of your new experience. And go, like I said, be curious, attend with an open mind, participate with an open mind, and then see the outcome, see what comes of it. And it is impactful. It's life-changing, and it's not complicated. It does not take a lot of your time or resources to do this. And, this was recorded. It's going to be available on the YouTube channel so that you can go back, make a list of the different breathing techniques, and play around with them. What do you have to lose? I mean,
you get high on your own supply.
I love that. All right, Abraham, again, before I let him go, you can click on in the chat on the register button, and I will make sure to include the link when we posted the video. I really appreciate you spending some time with us, teaching us, and walking us through those breathing. Yeah, just sitting down, I was having a tough time. So clearly, standing up, really appreciate you doing that. It's like, man, don't put yourself in danger. But thank you. Really appreciate you being with us.
Great to be here. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.